The sun was barely rising when I pulled into my own ranch, exhausted from the long drive, only to see her standing there, Karen, clutching a clipboard, eyes blazing with that familiar self-appointed authority. "You can't park here. This is private property," she shouted like she owned every inch of my land. I stopped in disbelief, wondering for a second if I had somehow taken a wrong turn. But no, the gate clearly had my name on it. I stepped out, keeping my voice steady. "Karen, this is my property. You are standing on my land." She let out a sharp, mocking laugh. "I called 911. They're on their way to arrest you for trespassing." My stomach dipped for a moment as I wondered if she had cooked up some new twisted rule. Then I remembered the truth. The sheriff's office knew my land, my family, and every inch of this ranch. "You really think a phone call changes ownership?" I asked calmly. Her face turned red, her hands waving wildly like she was summoning backup. That was when I glanced toward the barn and saw the hidden camera blinking steadily. I whispered to myself, perfect timing. Karen didn't notice the sheriff's car rolling down the driveway with the lights off. She was too busy yelling at me, expecting the dispatcher to hand her a miracle. I watched the panic flicker in her eyes when the deputy stepped out, badge catching the early sunlight. "You called us?" the sheriff asked. "Because he is parked on his own property." Karen opened her mouth, then closed it again. Her fake authority and loud accusations fell apart under the weight of a real lawman's stare. My heart pounded with relief and quiet satisfaction as I watched her unravel. "Looks like you've got a problem," I said, stepping aside. Her expression faltered even more when the deputy handed her a notice. "Trespassing on my own land," I muttered, shaking my head. 911 called, but wrong side of the law this time. Karen. Her hands shook, her face drained of color. That was when the reality hit her. She wasn't in charge here. Not now, not ever. And I knew this was only the beginning of her trouble. Karen backed away, clutching the notice like it was a lifeline. "This isn't over," she hissed, voice cracking with frustration. I raised an eyebrow. "It already is, at least for today." She stormed off toward her car, but instead of leaving, she circled the property, glaring at fences, barns, and even the old oak trees as if she was planning some kind of takeover. Then she did something unbelievable. She called her HOA friends, the ones who loved pretending they had real authority. Moments later, a row of SUVs pulled up, their lights flashing like a low-budget emergency scene. One stepped out with a clipboard. "Sir, you're in violation." I sighed, rubbing my temples. "Of what exactly? My land, my driveway, or your imagination?" They hesitated, clearly unsure. Karen's shrill voice cut through the silence. "He is breaking every rule. I swear he is dangerous." That was when I revealed the secret I had been holding back. "You may want to take a closer look at these," I said, pointing to the signs I had placed earlier. Legal permits, property deeds, and a note from the sheriff confirming everything. Their eyes widened. Karen's jaw dropped. That cannot be real. It got worse for her. I walked toward the barn and held up my phone. "And just so you know, I recorded everything you did today. The yelling, the threats, the pretending you owned this land." I pressed play. The HOA group watched the footage of Karen's meltdown. She lunged for my phone, but I stepped back calmly as the sheriff returned. The entire group began offering shaky apologies. Karen tried one last desperate accusation, claiming harassment, but the live footage immediately exposed the truth. The deputy handed her another notice, this one a permanent warning. Karen's frustrated scream echoed across the ranch as she realized she had pushed far beyond her limits. My chest tightened, not from fear, but from the relief of watching justice unfold in plain sight. My family's land was safe, and I knew this fight was still unfolding, but the advantage was finally mine. A week later, Karen's anger came back stronger. She delivered a court summons, claiming I violated HOA rules and owed fines. I laughed when I read it. "She thinks she can rewrite reality," I muttered. My lawyer quickly tore her claims apart, showing every accusation was based on fake authority and outdated regulations. Then came her last reckless move. She snuck onto my property at night, hoping to cause more trouble. But I was ready. My security cameras picked up every step she took. The lights kicked on automatically, startling her. By the time the sheriff arrived, she was cornered, not by force, but by clear evidence of trespassing and harassment. She scrambled to twist the story, but no one believed her. The sheriff read her rights, and for the first time, I saw real fear replace her fake confidence. Her so-called power was gone. As they escorted her off the property, I felt a deep wave of relief and victory. My family was safe, my land protected, and the law had spoken clearly. Later that evening, Sitting on my porch watching the sun fall over the ranch, I realized how close things had come to chaos. Yet I felt grateful knowing truth had prevailed. I looked at my kids and smiled. No one owns this land but us, and no one threatens our family. Karen's attempts to intimidate and control had collapsed completely, leaving behind a lesson for anyone who believes power can be faked. My ranch, my rules, my family, untouchable. The end.